Hello everyone, I'm Tim Danbrook and this is Georgina Speaks. And I'm just looking for some paperwork. Hang on, I'm going to shut this off and back on. I got to go get it. Okay, I'm back and somewhat organized. So it's been a while since I put anything out, and I've been keep telling my friends and my conscience committee, people like John McLean and Martin Nash, who I'm very grateful to have to consult with regarding what an idiot I can be at times. So what I wanted some conclusion to the some closure on the issue of what we did along Lake Drive and the lawsuit that cost me $100,000, and so that's one issue. So the Lake Drive is the one issue that is going to be okay. Hi everyone, I'm Tim Danbrook and this is Georgina Speaks. And I want, if anybody was wondering, my son Timmy coined that term. Georgina Speaks, when I asked him, what should I call my podcast? And he said, Georgina Speaks. And so thanks, Timmy, for that. So I haven't put anything out in a while, and I wanted to put something out. It's like you come to a crossroads. Are you going to keep doing this or not? And I certainly want to keep doing it. I love doing it. And I think in the end, if I ever stop billing, I'll probably do this and pick up some sponsors or whatever. And that'll be my pension, because Lord knows, never saved a penny, never will. The accumulation of wealth is the source of all evil, as they say. Anyway, so on the Lake Drive issue, there's a few things. I'm not going to talk a lot about it tonight. I'm just doing this as an introductory to a series of podcasts I'm doing regarding the Lake Drive issue, so that I have closure, the $100,000 it cost me. And as you can see, here's a picture of the last $5,000 installment that I sent to John Hart, or I actually dropped it off to Ryan because he's the rightful recipient and he took care of it. And so that's good, and that's behind me, that lawsuit, all done. The funny thing is about that, it kind of brings me back to the lawsuit that I won in 2014 against the town, because that was my first interaction with Margaret on an official level. And let me tell you how that went. On the night that we won, and we did clearly win, I got a call from one of the local reporters, I won't say because that's neither here nor there, Karen Wolf, and asked me, have I seen the town release? And the release said, oh, we won. And the lawyer had talked Margaret into publishing something that spun it in such a way that the town had won. And it was unscrupulous, it was disgusting, and anybody who read it understood exactly what it was, bullshit. And so I phoned Margaret and said, oh, geez, I didn't realize. I'm sorry, Tim. I wish I had called you first. And that, too, was bullshit, because that's who you are, Margaret. And that's who you've always been. And which is a nice segue into my next subject that I'll be covering in the days to come. And that is, I got a list of Margaret's adventures that really kind of highlight who you are, Margaret, and how you carry on in a really unscrupulous way, deliberately, in control of people you have no business controlling, harming people, people's property, people's positions, their jobs. You don't care. You're in charge, and you're going to do whatever you want. You do nothing to seek a group conscience out of that council. You decide in advance. And so, I mean, there's a whole list to do with heritage, homeless, the river issue, the waterfront issue, the Merc, the pot stores that everybody, you did a general survey on. Anyway, you know what, I'm not going to go into these, but you know, that whole Margaret's history is another subject that is going to be coming up in the days to come. So that's that. And then another subject is the fact that I am a builder, and I've been wrapped up in other issues, and I'm so happy I have Dennis and Jerry to kind of keep me on the straight and narrow. And it's a funny thing, because I actually built first in the 80s. I built 20 or 30 houses. Dennis and Jerry wanted to get involved in building. So we always joke that I taught them how to build, and because I'm 10 years younger than Jerry, 8 years younger than Dennis. And they'll both tell you that's actually true. But the truth is, I was just a spun unit. Carl Wayrich and I built our first house together. Neither of us ever having built a house before, and we just did it. And then we went on from there. And Dennis and Jerry took whatever I had learned and handed off to them, and they took it to the highest level. two of the best builders that Georgina's ever seen, and I have so much respect. And the benefit to me out of all of that was that while I was off in pursuit of every harebrain under the sun, because that's just who I was. I've never been a settled individual. I was top sales for a couple of years, went off into building, did that for a bit, had enough of that, and I did nonprofit housing, had enough of that. I built a ship in Cartagena, Colombia at the end of the 2000, around the millennial, and I had to laugh because I went away on vacation to Cartagena. I ran into an American guy that had a ship stolen and taken there, and so I give him my card, and he said he couldn't speak Spanish. I said, well, I speak a little Spanish if you need some help. I got back to Canada and he phoned me. So he sent me a ticket. I flew down and I spent the next 3 years building a ship in Cartagena, Colombia, and then I got 2 tugboats as payment in Guatemala. So I went down there and sold those, and the guy who bought them flew me to Panama, and I went there and made the deal. And anyway, so to make a long story even longer, I've never been able to settle into anything in my entire life. I have no attachment to anything. I have the inability to attach, and which is a nice segue into the most important subject I'm going to talk about in the coming days, and that is my addiction issues. I've been struggling the last couple of years with that, and the reason that it's all come up again is because I am in the middle of a lawsuit with a rather large administration who had some responsibility over custody of me at a time when I was very young, and sexual abuse was the result of it. And just to be clear, it's not a priest. I don't want to leave that hanging there, because I'm sure that would be on everybody's mind. It wasn't a priest, and I've known some good priests in my life, and Father Chris in Keswick here, and there was a couple of young priests in Richmond Hill where I grew up, and I knew all the altar boys, and they weren't affected by those people. So I mean, for all intents, so I just want to put that out there. But I am in the middle of that lawsuit, and what's happened is all of the issues of that lawsuit coming up again have brought up all of my issues that I had thought I had dealt with, and I haven't. And so I'm dealing with them, and which is a nice segue into how I'm dealing with them, and how it is I met a Swamini of the Hindu faith. I've been studying a guru for a couple of years since all this stuff kind of come up, and so I'll be dealing with that over the days to come. So there is the Cheesecake Chronicles, and I have to tell you, is with a heavy, heavy heart. I have to inform you that I'm only going to be baking 1 cheesecake tonight, not my usual 2 in the oven. It's breaking my heart, I got to tell you. However, I am going to cut back on the number I make, and I'll give pieces away to people, and I have a way of packaging them so I can give 10 pieces of cake away and get 10 smiles instead of 1, which is a bonus for me and everybody who enjoys the process. I get to keep doing it because it's become a spiritual ritual for me of sorts, and it keeps me on the straight and narrow. It gives me a singleness of purpose, and a good purpose too. So that's a nice segue into that. And then and the second subject is, Margaret and her list of however you want to look at it, and I'll address that again. So I just wanted to introduce that, and because I'm an old man with too much time on his hands, I'm trying to understand how the world works, and it's all connected, and the connectedness of it is like what's been going on in Gaza. It's driving all of us crazy. Even people who are not prone to that, every single person on the planet is looking at that, and it's breaking their heart, and they don't know what to do about it. And so I've been kind of in pursuit. One thing that's always amazed me is how do evil people get into positions of authority and positions of power? I mean, when they're clearly, and it always comes down to communication skills, and which is a nice segue into how it's all, the connectedness of it as, dare I say, Margaret, but the way that you do things, and the way that you disingenuously make statements, and the way people show up with their work, like Dale Gange. I watched a council meeting where she showed up with a complete package to deal with homelessness in Georgina, and all of your minions gave it lip service, wonderful, 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 and then cue the resolution that was already decided that was going to be passed by you, and you brought it in and took care of it. Another similar circumstances is the heritage issue. You recently hired someone regarding heritage. When we have Alan Morton, Karen Wolf, D. Lawrence, all of them incredibly qualified and certified and credentialed to deal with that issue, wanting to deal with it, and all of them love Georgina. And you systematically just shut them all down because you're going to do whatever you're going to do because you could give a shit. Sorry, sorry for my language, not for what I said. Or as my brother would say, the way that Timmy says things isn't always right, but it doesn't mean he's wrong. And you know what? I love them for it. So that's kind of So just to finish up, in my quest to understand how evil people it's always communication skills. People wonder why I would listen to guys like Hannity or Greg Gutfeld or Ted Cruz. I don't agree with any of those people, but their communication skills are off the chart, and that's how they got where they are. So you have to understand. So for me, that's all it's about, communication skills. It's always been a big thing for me. So, and then there's the whole issue of religion. Let's not get into that. However, there is 2 billion Muslims on the planet, 1.4 billion Catholics, and growing because they found some villages in South Africa that they can rape and pillage and save, So, sorry, a little insult to my mother's Catholic Church. I started to read the Quran. This one was given to me today by a dear friend of mine who lives very close to me, and I asked him if I read the Quran, would he help me and guide me if I don't understand some of it, and he said he would, and so I'm working on that. So I bought my own version of it too, and he gave me a pocket version I could carry around. So that's my quest. It's a spiritual one, it's an honest one, and try to do right. And I had you know what, you don't need to hear any of my revelations, trust me, there's enough of them floating around to choose from. So love yous all, and I'll look forward to putting this together in a proper, presentable format. But I've been wanting to say something for some time and didn't know what to say. And I'm going to post a picture here of the last $5,000 check I gave to Ryan to pay John Hart's bill, and I'm going to tell you about John Hart. I disagree with everything that he said in terms of the legal positions he took. But he is a decent guy, and he outlured me, heaven forbid, me and my grade 8 education. And I lost that case not because I was wrong, but because I didn't present the case in a proper legal format with the judges knew that you basically had two owners that should have been equal in an ownership dispute, and the town took all their power and screwed everybody. But I didn't present the legal framework that they needed to make the decision that I needed. I was arrogant, to be honest with you. I should have either, and I did, and I ended up down that path, trying to save, and with the arrogance that I could do this, and that, and a little shout out to Daryl Blanchard there. He also put up the first $5,000 for my thing, but using the phrase, I don't trust that bitch. He said I have to stay anonymous and I'll pay up to $20,000. So I got sucked down that path. And you know me, when I ask Jerry when I get on a mission, there's no stopping me, and right or wrong. And so here's the last $5,000. I paid it to John Hart. I offered him a cheesecake. He said, thanks, but no. I took a cheesecake to a cross-examination where Andrew Biggert was supposed to cross-examine me, and we all know what happened with that. He didn't, because I wouldn't let him. But I had a cheesecake, and I said, could you take that back to the office? And this is what a prick he is. John can get it himself, or you can take it to his office. Like, what an idiot. Anyway, so that's my rant. That's my legal rant. God love you, John. And we have some common interests that we discussed at the last Discovery. And so he's done some volunteer work for some dear friends of mine. And I'm grateful for that. Hope you're having a great day. And I still got to deliver 2 cheesecakes to the appeals office for those guys. One on behalf of the defendant, one on behalf of the moving party, and one on behalf of the respondent. See, I even use the right terms. Love yous all. So this is my introduction to a whole bunch of shit that I'm going to be dealing with in the times to come. And now I got to go finish up one cheesecake. It's, one other thing. Anybody who wants to send e-transfer $15 to my builder@start.ca email, builder, BUILDER, at start.ca, with and identify a charity or a group of volunteers, or it has to be for a goodwill action. I will bake it and deliver it. So then that's the way I can get. I was baking 2 cakes a day at $30, $15 a cake. I was baking 2 a day in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I just can't stop myself because, but, and again, with a very heavy heart, 1 cheesecake going in the oven tonight, not 2. So I'm getting better. And on my addiction issues, I'm a bipolar manic depressant, and I started abusing these. Man, I got to tell you, doctors have great drugs, and if you just tell them they're working, they'll give you more, right? So I'm dealing with it, my issues, and I'm dealing with it. That's part of the spirituality pursuit that I'm in. And I hope you are all having a great night. And I'm going to share, I wanted to share my Victims No Longer. I'm going to share my Victims No Longer part of it at the end of this video, so that about my adult survivor issues, being an adult survivor of childhood sexual abuse. I've had a great life, so I mean, but my inability to attach or form attachment or intimacy at a really deep level. I've been married 7 times, and they'll all tell you I'm a good guy, but not always there. That's my rant for the evening, and I hope I didn't go on too long. It's 15 minutes. I hope you don't consider it 15 minutes wasted, and I'll look forward to start communicating with you soon. Take care. Have a good night. And if I run into you on the street, be kind, would you? Oh, I just come back for because I give some thought to what I had just produced, and I wanted to make sure I articulated everything properly. And so now I'll try not to screw it up again. So my Cheesecake Chronicles, and the outcome of that is it's been a wonderful journey, and I really enjoy doing it. I still do, but I was getting to be a bit much, because a couple cakes a day is $30 a day. It's $210 a week, actually, and couldn't stop myself. You see all the smiles I see, and you'll understand why I couldn't stop myself. But practicality. So I got my 1 cake in the oven now. It took me like 15 minutes. It's so cool. So that's a lot easier, and I can produce a lot easier, and I'll produce 1 or 2 or 3 cakes a week or whatever I want now. And if anybody wants to send me, once again, $15, builder@start.ca, BUILDER at start, START.ca, and identify the charity, the volunteers, or the people in the community that, if it's an active charity, I'll be more than happy to finish it up on your behalf. And so that's where the Cheesecake Chronicles are going, and the karma train's not stopping, I can tell you that. So that's that. I am a builder, and I wanted to readdress that, because I get off doing all kinds of stuff, and then you might wonder what's going on with that. So, and I'll post. I'm going to do a whole episode on the history of us Danbrooks and building in Georgina, and I was going to do a build your own house, but everybody knows how now. You just go on the internet and figure it out. It's not brain surgery. But if you're going to build your own house, it's always good to have a project manager. You can save a lot of money. That's my system. I provide guidance where you make all the decisions and you pay everybody, and so that's called owner build. And then if you want to start bitching about how much work you have to do, I just point to the sign and it says owner build, right? So what was your first clue? So anyway, so that's the second part of it is I'm going to toot my family's horn as far as our building history, and in no small way does it depict a love of Georgina. So there's connectedness to everything. And then I'm concluding with some closure, and with the lawsuit, and I have some other things going on about Lake Drive, but they're not myself driven, so we'll see how that goes. And so closure on that. But mostly and importantly is the addiction issues that have come up for me again in the last couple of years because of the lawsuit that I have regarding my sexual abuse, and all kinds of stuff has come up again. I'm dealing with that, but I'm dealing with it through spirituality, which is going to be a common thread through all of it. And as I said, I'm reading the Quran now, so don't make me go all Akbar on your ass. And that's a really bad joke and in bad taste, but I couldn't resist. I love these people, and from what I read, I happen to personally believe that it is all about guidance and spiritual guidance, as is I've been reading the Hindu beliefs, and my my buddy, my Sai Baba Shiri, was a guru who died 100 years ago. So anyway, so that's basically the 4 subject matters, and regarding the town matters, all of it, I'll have John McLean and Martin Nash will be doing aspects of it with me, and any member of the community that wants to take part, shoot me a message. We'll have a conversation. I'll discuss any subject with anybody as long as it's an honest conversation. If you have a subject that you'd like to highlight, shoot me a message. I'll come to your place and I'll interview you, and you can, if you have an issue with something, or you want to celebrate somebody, you know, like a segment of our community, that's anything like that. So anyway, that's my second rant for the same evening. You got a 2 for 1 there. So, and God love you all. See you soon. And if I see you on the street, please be kind.